there is only war.
Greetings, nerd! Once again, we continue the series about the creation of Primarch souls. This time, we have arrived at Jaghatai Khan, Primarch of the 5th Legion, White Scars. You already know the drill, so before we jump in, please hype the video, subscribe to become part of the Legion, and check out the Audible promotion in the pinned comment. With that said, let's begin, shall we? While many of his fellow Primarchs are defined by grand flaws, towering egos, or tragic pasts, Khan stands apart as a figure of calm clarity and profound self-awareness. He is often misunderstood, even by those who fight beside him, seen by some as a barbarian or an outsider. He is in truth one of the most rational, composed, and introspective of the Primarchs. Khan's homeworld is Chigoris, a harsh but beautiful world of vast plains and endless skies. He was raised not in a palace or fortress, but among a nomadic warrior tribe who valued speed, freedom, and personal honor above all else. From a young age, Khan showed a quiet intensity and a deep sense of self. He didn't speak often, but when he did, others listened. He learned quickly, absorbing not just the skills of hunting and riding, but the wisdom of the land and the people who lived on it. His upbringing among the tribes shaped his character more deeply than the genetic legacy of the emperor. He learned to value independence, to think for himself, and to question what others accepted as truth. While he respected strength, he believed in using it wisely. He became a leader not because he sought power, but because he earned the respect of those around him. Even as a child, he was a thinker as much as a warrior. He could read a situation in an instant, not just with his eyes, but with his intuition. That gift stayed with him for the rest of his life. Despite being the fastest of the Primarchs in both thought and motion, Khan was never reckless. His mind was a still lake, clear and deep. He acted with purpose, not haste. In battle, his speed was legendary, but what made him truly fearsome was his ability to see the battlefield as a whole. He understood flow, momentum, and timing like no other. And though he moved like the wind, he never made a decision without first considering its consequences. This sense of balance, of harmony between action and thought, defined his entire being. Unlike many of his brothers, Khan did not carry deep trauma from his early life. He was not racked by insecurity, nor driven by vengeance or jealousy. He accepted who he was, and he accepted the strange destiny that had placed him among beings of godlike power. He knew he was more than human, yet he never saw himself as above humanity. Rather, he believed his purpose was to protect the freedom and dignity of mankind. He did not crave control or conquest. He wanted to create a galaxy where people could live without chains. This is why, when the heresy broke out, Khan did not rush to judgment. He listened. He understood the grievances of Horus and the traitor Primarchs. In some ways, he even agreed with parts of their reasoning. The emperor was a tyrant, after all, undeniably so, but Khan also saw the larger picture. He knew that the Imperium, for all its flaws, was humanity's best hope for survival, and he knew that to betray it would be to unleash chaos, not freedom. His decision to stay loyal was not blind faith. It was a reasoned choice, made with a heavy heart but a clear mind. Many of his brothers were tormented souls, driven by inner demons or desperate to win their father's approval. Khan was different. He didn't need validation. He had nothing to prove. That gave him a kind of a peace and focus that few others could match. He was not without flaws. He could be distant, hard to read, and sometimes too willing to walk his own path. But he was perhaps the most well-balanced of all the Primarchs. A maverick, yes, but one who understood the cost of rebellion. In battle, Khan was a force of nature. He did not feel fatigue the way mortals do. His body was as tireless as his mind was sharp. He could ride and fight for days without pause, never faltering, never slowing, but even in the heat of combat, he remained calm. His movements were not just fast, they were graceful, efficient, and deliberate. He fought like a dancer, not a berserker, and when the killing was done, he did not revel in it. He simply moved on. Today, Khan is believed to be lost within the webway, still alive but unreachable. Some say he hunts the Dark Eldar in their twisted realms, others that he seeks a path back to real space. He will return one day. That is inevitable, but even in his absence, his legacy endures. He was the quiet storm, the free thinker, the warrior philosopher, a primarch who understood that even gods must serve a greater good or be consumed by their own power. Jaghatai Khan was, and remains, one of the Imperium's greatest enigmas, not because he was unknowable, but because he was so often overlooked. And yet, in his clarity, his independence, and his wisdom, he may have been closer to the truth than any of his brothers. So the Emperor, probably on Molech, reached deep into the mystic memory of humanity. He searched for something ancient and boundless, and he found in it Tengri. Tengri, the god of the open sky, the eternal blue dome under which the horse lords rode, the unseen force that whispered to the hearts of nomads, a deity of balance, not law, not chaos, but motion, harmony through movement. Tengri wasn't worshipped with temples or laws. Tengri was felt in the wind, in the gallop of a steed, in the silence of vast horizons. What if the Emperor didn't just draw on this ancient human deity for inspiration? What if he tapped into it, using the warp to infuse this ancient, archetypal force into Jaghatai Khan? A fusion of human myth and the Emperor's own essence, designed not to lead cities or command bureaucracies, but to roam, to think, to question, to never be caged. Think about how Khan grew up, on steps of Chigoris, among people who lived by motion, not walls. He didn't need to be taught who he was, he already felt it. His people didn't need a tyrant, they needed a guide, a fast-moving eye watching the horizon, not a fist pounding the table. Even as a child, Khan rode faster, thought clearer, and lived freer than anyone around him. That wasn't just upbringing, that was his soul speaking. The Emperor made each primarch for a purpose. Gilman was meant to govern, Lan was meant to embody duty, Fulgrim a perfection to strive for that uplifts others. But Khan was the necessary contradiction, the wild card, the reminder that even in an imperium of walls and rules, freedom must exist, or everything collapses under its own weight. Khan saw the Emperor clearly, not through blind loyalty or hatred, but through reason. He knew the Emperor was a tyrant, but he also knew that humanity, at this fragile moment in history, needed a tyrant. That knowledge didn't crush him, it simply was. That's Tengri again, that balance, that acceptance. The wind doesn't mourn the storm, it rides through it. Other primarchs broke under the pressure. They sought validation, vengeance, meaning. Khan never did, because he was never lost. He didn't need a throne, or a cathedral, or a destiny carved in gold. He needed speed, he needed space, he needed to act freely, not out of rebellion, but out of clarity. That's the soul of Tengri, that's the part of the Emperor that still remembered what it meant to be unbound. He is riding, hunting slavers, chasing shadows, blazing trails no one else can see. He is still free, because that's what he was always meant to be, the wind that cannot be caught. So here's the heart of the theory. Jaghatai Khan was the Emperor's secret wish, the hidden hope that humanity wouldn't just survive the stars, but stay human while doing it. And to make that hope real, the Emperor fused part of himself with the essence of Tengri, the sky god, the rider, the balance bringer. Khan isn't just a warrior. He's a message, a living reminder that even the mightiest empires must leave room for those who choose to open path. Not everyone needs to rule. Some were born to ride, and maybe, when the time is right, that wind will return, and with it, the war hawk. Not to conquer, not to control, but to remind the galaxy what freedom feels like. You see, Tengri is not merely a god. Tengri is a principle, a presence, a primordial concept older than writing, than cities, than kings. In the ancient spiritual systems of the Turkish and Mongolic people, Tengri was the eternal blue sky, the unseen force that balanced the natural world. Where other cultures imagined gods with faces and families, the people of the steppe looked upward and saw Tengri, the infinite dome above, always watching, always judging, never speaking directly. Tengri's origins lie in the animistic and shamanic traditions of early Central Asia. These were societies that lived close to the land, guided not by codified religion but by rhythms of weather, migration, and survival. Tengri wasn't one god among many. Tengri was the divine order itself, eternal, unchanging, impartial, neither wholly benevolent nor malevolent, but fundamentally concerned with harmony. Tengri did not require elaborate rituals, but demanded that people live rightly, according to balance, respect for nature, and just rule. Historically, Tengri was invoked by Khans and emperors as a legitimizing force. The concept of Tengrism offered divine mandate without dogma. A Khan ruled by the will of Tengri, but this was not a license for tyranny. If he became unjust, the sky would turn against him. Earthquakes, drought, rebellion, these were signs of Tengri's displeasure. Tengri was fate, justice, and the unspoken law of the universe. This ancient god had no temples, no priesthood. Tengri's temple was the open plain, his altar the wide sky, and this made him eternal, unbound by nation, doctrine, or time. You see, it is said the Emperor of Mankind entered the warp through a gateway on Molech. What he found there is largely unknown. Official speculation, if you can even call it that, claims he sought the knowledge to create primarchs and thus made a deal with the Chaos Gods. But what if that is not what happened? The warp is not a uniform domain. It is shaped by consciousness, by belief, by myth. The Chaos Gods, Khorne, Nergal, Zeech, and Slanesh, are the most dominant forces within it because, well, they feed on the loudest and most destructive aspects of sentient life. But deeper still, older than the thirst of rage and the schemes of ambition, there may dwell other entities, archetypes, legends, the original spirits of human understanding, not gods of excess or corruption, but representations of balance, wisdom, courage, curiosity, and freedom. What if, on Molech, the Emperor did not merely seize power from the warp, but bargained with these ancient beings, not demons, but gods, long forgotten by a galaxy that had outgrown its old beliefs? What if he offered them survival? The Chaos Gods consume everything, even the strongest souls are devoured in time, twisted beyond recognition. But the Emperor, master of psychic law, may have proposed a sanctuary, a way for these archetypal spirits to live on, not as a prey in the immaterium, but as living demigods in the materium, in flesh. The Primarch project, then, may not have been simply a genetic experiment. It may have been a pact, a covenant between the Emperor and the oldest aspects of human belief. Each Primarch, a vessel, a living expression of an idea. War, hope, vengeance, order, sacrifice, and yes, even freedom, even balance. Tengri, under this theory, was one of these archetypes, not a being with ambition, but one with clarity. He would not serve chaos, he would not dominate mankind, but in return for survival, for a form not bound to the tides of the warp, Tengri would become part of the Emperor's vision, a warrior who embodied the sky, the law without laws, the freedom to move, and the wisdom to hold back. Other archetypes might have become Vulcan, representing endurance and guardianship, or Sanguinius, the martyr angel of grace. Even Horus may have carried an older echo, ambition twisted, not born. These weren't simply sons, they were ideas, born in flesh, tempered by human upbringing and nudged towards a singular purpose, to shepherd mankind's evolution and survival. The Emperor was a broker between realities. He saw what chaos was becoming, an all-consuming storm of human excess and sought to shield humanity by preserving the noblest, most balanced aspects of its psychic heritage, not through worship, but through embodiment, through legacy. But what do you think? Does Jaghatai fit the description of Tengri? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, then leave a like, subscribe, and use the brand new Hype feature to help the channel grow. That is the best way you can support my content without spending a dime. And trust me when I say this, it will help massively. On your way out, grab the 30 days Audible trial to listen to Warhammer audiobooks for free. Check out Patreon for some cool art. And as always, join Discord for a friendly banter. With that said, this is the end of the briefing.